Welcome to The Stacks, a podcast about books and the people who read them. I'm your host, Tracy Thomas, and today we are joined by journalist and sociology professor, author, and advocate, Shanita Hubbard. Shanita is here to talk with us about her work and her new book, Ride or Die, a feminist manifesto for the well-being of Black women. Shanita's a former therapist, and she teaches in Toronto and is the chair of the freelance task force for the National Association of Black Journalists. She's also a Soros Fellow and was awarded the Baldwin Writers Residency Fellowship in 2020. We talk about Black women's erasure and culture, why she hates this idea of Black women saving the world, and then, of course, we talk about the many books that have shaped Shanita's life. Our March book club pick is the essay collection Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. Shanita will be back on March 29th for our discussion of the book. Quick reminder, everything we talk about on each episode of the show can be found in the link in the show notes. If you love the show and you want more access to it, please go to patreon.com/thestacks and join the Stacks Pack. When you join, you get bonus episodes of the podcast like this month's conversation where I begged Mr. Stacks to join me. You get access to the Discord, which is full of the best bookish chatter around, and you get to come to our monthly virtual book club. Plus, you get discounts on merch, you get shout outs on the show. Basically, it's the best place to be if you are a book lover. And what's more, joining the Stacks Pack makes it possible for me to make this show every single week. So please, 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 if you're able, head to patreon.com/thestacks and join. A special shout out to our newest members of the Stacks Pack, Jill Lehman, Sherry Richmond, Emma, Meg Shaughnessy, Vella Lavelle, Erica Tooley, Chelsea Skawera, and Mike Naple. Thank you all so much, and thank you to the entire Stacks Pack. All right, now it's time for my conversation with Shanita Hubbard. All right, y'all, I'm so excited to welcome our March guest to the Stacks. She is a writer, a professor, a smart-ass woman. Her name is Shanita Hubbard. Her new book is called Ride or Die, a feminist manifesto for the well-being of Black women. Shanita, welcome to the Stacks.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. I feel like I just got invited to the cool kids table. Thank you for having me.
That's hilarious. We're not that. We're a bunch of nerds over here, but you know what? Being nerdy is cool.
It's very cool.
I feel. From one nerd to another.
Yes.
For folks who are not familiar with you, or just for me too, tell us about yourself. I mean, we know a little bit about your work, but where'd you grow up? How did you come to this work? Give us a little bit of your story.
Sure. Yes, I am. Listen, you can read the professional accolades anywhere, right? But I'm just still
That's right.
A regular girl from Yonkers, from the hood in Yonkers. That's where I grew up. So I lived in Yonkers all my life, and I went to an HBCU in the South, in South Carolina, changed my life. Shout out team HBCU. I am the mom of an incredible, amazing, dope Black girl. And I swear, like, she just makes my life just better just by existing. And I love writing. And also love centering us in my work. Like no professional assignments brings me greater joy than to center us, my community, Black people, Black women. So that's my thing. I'm here and I'm excited to be here, guys.
I love it. I love it so much. I love that you love your daughter so much. It's so sweet. I have twin boys and we're not really in that phase right now because they're 3 years old and they're driving me crazy. But I hope soon to love them again. I hope soon that they brighten my day and don't give me anxiety.
Tracy, please enjoy that stage. My baby's about to be a teenager in a few weeks, and I miss that age. I swear, enjoy every second of it.
I'm trying. It's just really hard when you're getting, Legos jammed up your nose.
Girl, listen, I know.
I know you know. I'm obsessed with your Yonkers accent. I'm sure people tell you that all the time. I lived in New York for a while, so hearing New York makes me so happy. It makes me smile so big. I really enjoyed your book. I feel like what you're doing in Ride or Die is super interesting because you're pushing, I think a lot of the book is pushing back, right? Like, I feel like you've done so much work with Black women and feminism. And I feel like from my read that I got of it is like, you're sort of tired of a lot of the things that you keep hearing and seeing and the erasure that you keep experiencing. And this book sort of feels like pushing against those like typical narratives. Does that feel right to you?
as the kids would say, I feel so seen, Tracy. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. What I wanted to do is, for those who have not yet read the book, I use hip hop as like a conversation, as an entry point to a conversation about larger issues that are specific to Black womanhood, right? I'm like, the first chapter is all about, let's defund the ride or die industrial complex. Let's burn it to the ground. Mm-hmm. We are done. We're not doing this. We're riding for ourselves. We're showing up for ourselves. And then the other chapters are areas that I want us to focus on. And it's with hip hop. And if anyone is a hip hop head, you know that it's ours, right? It started as a way to amplify the voices of marginalized communities, but still within that genre, there are marginalized voices within marginalized voices. So I wanted to flip the script and push back, exactly like you said, and use, and use this culture, use this music to amplify voices that are typically muted, and even sometimes within hip hop.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. You talk about I think it's the second or third essay about the corner, about like how, there's so many songs and so many cultural moments for Black men on the corner. And it's like this uplifting space, and it's this communal space, and it's where deals get done, and it's where friendships are made and bonds are held. And, all of that vengeance takes place. It's like such a powerful place for Black men. And you talk about how for Black women, it's not necessarily that. Sometimes it's where sexual violence takes place. Sometimes it's where, young girls become women in a sense because of the catcalling and the sexual, harassment. And you have this line where you talk about Black women need to be included in these spaces because when we're erased, it's exactly like what white culture did to Black folks that made hip hop come about. Like that hip hop was this response and this pushback. And when Black women are excluded from these spaces, that it's the same sort of thing happening where Black men are becoming the dominant culture that's excluding us.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that we're starting there. That's actually one of my favorite chapters, right? So, and I'm not even saying that I want them to, like, I have no goals of like hanging out on a corner or hanging on a block. That's not my goal, right? But we are still, a lot of us have to walk by those corners. So what I love Comet. I love, the song, the corners and the videos, but he did a wonderful job of showing a universal experience, right? Because he's from the Midwest. So, but still, the experience was so universal that, Black men all over connected to exactly what you said, what happens there. But for a lot of young Black girls, it is exactly like you said. It is the place where we experience sexual violence for the first time without even having the language. It is just walking by those corners. I remember, and I wrote about this in the book, being 12 years old and these really grown men, grabbing my ass and, just men that knew me, just like trying to holler at me, like I was chasing me, like all of these things that I completely normalized. It just became part of what happens when I walk on a block, whether it's going to my aunt's house or my friend's house. And those experiences stayed with me. So when I say I want us to be included, I mean, in those narratives, like when Common is talking about what happens on corners, expand that a bit, right? Let's tell the truth. Let's widen the lens and talk about what happens to Black girls on these corners. Let's talk about and how that stays with us, our lives. I don't know. I feel so old, right? Because some of my students never even heard of this song, but I can like quote the video. But I remember there's a scene in the video and it's so accidentally perfect, right? So the scene is these young Black girls who look maybe about 12 years old. They're walking out of school because it's after school and they're getting dismissed. And then as they start to walk out of the school and they're about to walk down the street, the camera pans away from them. And we never get to see what happens on their walk home. We never get to see what their experience is like on a corner. And that was such an unintentional capture of what erasure is, because young Black and brown girls are having these experiences on the corners, but we're not capturing them in hip hop and we're not talking about them collectively. And this is really important. This is not like, this is not like, I want you to talk about us in your barbershops. No, you can keep that, right? But there's real life things that happened to us when we were younger, and a lot of us just completely normalized it. And I want him to like broaden the lens, literally and figuratively, to include us.
Yeah. I mean, I think what you said about the barbershop part is what really stuck out to me in the reading, because I sort of had that moment of like, well, this just like isn't a space for Black women. And then I was like, then you said, actually, we walk down the street too. It's not a private location. The corner isn't your friend's house, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's not your barbershop. The corner is the corner. Mm-hmm. Like it's outside. It's a public property. So women are gonna be there whether or not like you think that it's a woman's space. And I think that for me that was like, right, of course I know that, but it never had dawned on me that like the erasure has been so intense that it didn't even dawn on me that like we're allowed to be on corners too.
Yes, we're allowed to walk down the street, right? We are. These are, and we are too. This is our spaces too.
Yeah, I have to ask you, this wasn't originally on my questions, but it just popped into my head. What did you think of the Grammys 50 Years of Hip Hop, what do you call it, like review that they did?
Oh, the tribute, I didn't see a lot of it. But from what I know, Tracy. Listen, guys, I'm staying in an Airbnb right now because my pipes broke and my house has to be repaired. So sometimes this Wi-Fi causes me to like not even have freaking cable or TV over here. So I didn't even see the whole thing. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Well, I thought it was great. I had a great time, but I just was thinking you're the expert. Okay, in your book, your book is sort of memoir, but it's also got like a lot of theory and history and sort of like academic ideas in it. And I was curious about how you approach kind of weaving both the memoir and the more like, I don't know what you would call the other stuff, but how you mix the memoir with the like more vetted cultural data type stuff.
The genre blending came so natural to me because I wanted the book to feel like brunch with Shanita. Like Tracy, if you and I went to to brunch, right? And maybe bottomless mimosas was flowing, maybe somebody popped an edible. We can go from kikiing, right? And then we can also, in that same conversation, we can be laughing and joking. And I can also share with you some things that's on my mind. Like, hey, I'm kind of stressed out because my daughter's not getting the support she needs from school. And then I'll have to interject why this is a big deal. And I'll break down the adultification of Black girlhood, right? The adultification of Black girls and how they are seen as, adults when they're still children and how and what that looks like for them in schools. And then we can flip. And then one of my favorite songs to come on, like Meg or Cardi B or just anything. And then I got to pause because, now I got to freestyle. And then we could go back to just regular talking. And because that's who I am. Like I'm just Shanita, who's also a professor, who's also well-read, who's also a mom. So you get all of this whenever you experience me. So that's what I wanted my book to feel like too. I wanted it to be that. And right. And we are all so multifaceted, right? We can watch Versus and be arguing over if Dipset is better than the Lox, but then we could also talk about our favorite Audre Lorde quotes, right? So we are so Black women, we are so dope, layered, and multifaceted. And that's what I wanted to give us.
Yeah. And I feel like when we were talking about what books to do, I threw out a handful. And one of the ones I threw out was Thick by Tressie McMillan Cottom. And another one I threw out that we didn't do is Eloquent Rage by Brittany Cooper. And then we picked Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. But I think, the reason that those women really stood out to me as people that I would want to talk about with you is because I feel like the best Black women who are writing about being Black women are doing what you're describing, right? Where they're taking, they're academics, they're well-learned women, and they're a good hang. They're funny. They know about pop culture just as much as they know about census data. And like, to me, I think that just shows, you all are examples of like what brilliant Black women we have thinking and writing today. And it's one of my favorite genres are like these essay collections like you've written and like the ones I mentioned, because they're thrilling to read,
Thank you. That's such a high, first of all, anytime you just mention me with like a Roxane Gay, that's such a high compliment. and I think honestly, Tracy, it's like, we deserve to show up at our full selves in every space.
Yeah.
Yes, at work, but also in our work, right? As content creators, like it's perfectly fine for me to write for us, for me to write, to my specific demographic. And I love that. I love that in literature. And I want us all to completely show up as our full selves.
But I even more like than that, I feel like it's a thing that Black women are doing, because as you know, I read a ton of authors and I read very diversely and I love essay collections. And like, I'm not seeing this same kind of like, almost, it feels effortless, though I know it's not, this effortless weaving of the personal and the pop cultural and the academic in other like groups. Like it seems to be this thing that's becoming like the voice of Black women is this skill to like weave so well and like to really lean into the pop culture. I don't know why. Maybe it has something to do with like wanting to be able to be read in as many spaces as possible, you know, and to be received because so many doors have been closed in our faces for so long. But it's something that I feel like has become part of the fabric of current Black women literature, and I love it here.
I love it here. And that's such a brilliant observation. I think, honestly, a lot of us are tapping into our mother Toni, right?
Right.
Toni Morrison said, you know, I remember her in an interview one time, and she was like, she wants to write a book where where there are no little notes for white people, right? She's not explaining anything. So I think there's a Black woman, especially of a certain age, like if you're above, I want to say 35, there is a level of freedom that we operate in, right? This freedom to just show up and just be exactly who we are, because this is, and I don't want to sound redundant, but like this is really who we are. Like, honey, like, and I swear, like on a given weekend, I can go from, oh, wow, such and such just came home from prison and then Block is about to have a barbecue for him. Come through. Bet, I'm there. And then the following week, I'm pulling up because I'm going to my Soros conference because I'm also a Soros Justice Fellow. But I have to squeeze that in between me coming back from Paris because I'm a James Baldwin Fellow. But I'm still the same person in every single space. And I love this for us. I love that we are not trying to capitulate into anyone else's standards. I love that we are just one of the things I notice about my generation, this new influx of writers, is that we're not trying to sound like anyone else. And I think that is fantastic.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's fantastic because it makes there's so much space for all of our books and they feel different. You know, like there's definitely certain groups of people where I'll read a book and I'm like, okay, feel like I've done this.
Yeah.
Like all the books feel the same, or like they're aspiring to a certain kind of voice. And I don't feel like that is true for a lot of the Black women who are writing, you know, nonfiction, memoir sort of combo books. Like, there's so many I can think of. I just named those four, but there's just so many of them and they're so good.
Can I tell you some, can we, since we have brunch right now, can we pretend that we on like the third bottomless mimosa? If you're seeing like, if you are enjoying like this new influx of Black writers, because it's not even new, right? But there's just more out right now, right? From Black women. Yeah. It's because we're fighting like hell behind the scenes to be able to tell these stories, because the publishing industry, as you know, is very formulaic, right? If this is what worked, right, they want you to stick to this formula because this is how Ta-Nehisi Coates sold, and this is how such and such sold, and this is how this, and maybe some other even white people sold, and they really push for you to kind of replicate a pre-existing and formula. And a lot of them really push for you to write a book that also speaks to white people, right? They will say things like, we need to have really inclusive language, or we need to make sure the readers understand. I had to tell people, oh, my readers understand what this means. I write for people that understand when ratchet was a ratchet and not just, you know, right? So a lot of this is because we're fighting like hell behind the scenes to be this free. And it is not coming easy, honey.
Isn't that the fucking statement of the year for Black women?
Girl.
For whatever you see, we're fighting like hell to get here. I mean, I just got off the most frustrating phone call, which we don't have to talk about, but it was a thing of me being like, wow, you wanted X, Y, and Z. It would have been wonderful if you'd communicated that with me, because I know you've communicated that with the 95 white girls that you work with. It's so true. And then this is the other thing that comes up so much in your book is this idea of respectability politics, right? Like, it's not just that we're fighting to tell these stories or to get access or to be seen or to be deemed worthy by the powers that be in white social structures and professional structures, but also that if we want to show up fully as ourselves, we're told that we're too much or too loud or too sexual or too mean or too too whatever. And I feel like in your book, in the Lauryn Hill chapter, it's every chapter. I think you're pushing up against respectability politics. So I'd love to hear sort of like, how do you deal with wanting to be accepted so that you have the ability to do your work and have people read it, with the request that you do less or be less or do it in a certain way, or, you know, get right within, or whatever Lauryn Hill says, you know?
That is a really good question. One of the things that, because I am, and honestly, I think we all every single day, just like you have to like take showers and brush your teeth, right? White supremacy is so etched into the fabric of our being, into our existence, into this world, into this air, that if we're not actively rejecting it, we're perpetuating it. And respectability politics is nothing, is just a byproduct of white supremacy, because it's saying behave like this so this dominant culture can respect you better, right? So we have to, myself, I have to constantly, I have to do it less now, but I definitely was in a stage where I had to really be honest with myself and constantly reject that. Like, why am I afraid of using this language when it's really what I want to say? Then who am I really speaking to? Then who am I really writing for? Right. So these are the things that I have that are sent to me and that guide me. And not even in this book, like, but just with everything. And I know in publishing, right, it kind of mirrors the record industry. I remember if you listen to any documentary or any artist, they will tell you that a lot of times labels will be like, give us the commercial bop, give us that hit, and then you can write whatever you want or whatever. But what happens is you start to get stuck in that, right? I just think about, I'm an old school hip hop head. It's like, remember when the Locks came out wearing shiny suits because Diddy said that's what's going to sell. And baby girl, that is absolutely not who they are. Them N-words are from the hood. They're from my block. They are not some shiny suit wearing Negroes, but this is what they wore. So they had to then fight to get out of that box so that they could be free. Baby, I'm not fighting for my freedom. Like, I'm just not letting you put me in a box. You're not putting me in your proverbial shiny suit. Like, you're just not doing this to me, because I genuinely believe that what is for me, right? And in terms of writing and success, like, my core audience, the people that I'm writing for, they will get it and it will happen. And I don't want to do it in a shiny suit.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that you made me think about was this idea that like Black women are here to save everyone else, or that it's our job. And like, I'm really curious about how you feel about that refrain, especially I'm thinking about like in politics when it comes up every time Georgia has an election, and how Stacey Abrams is like some sort of hero to America because she's delivered a victory in some way. And, you know, that's where I feel like we see it the most, though we do see it in other spaces. But this like sort of cultural collective praise of Black women in situations where everyone else has decided that it's okay for themselves to be morally bankrupt. But thank God that Black women saved us, even though 53% of white women voted X, Y, and Z.
Girl, listen. So my premise of ride or die, right? It's not just, I'm not writing about just in relationship aspects. I'm talking about how the whole world expects us to ride until we die, and for people that wouldn't even stand up for us. So it is not by any stretch of the imagination a compliment to be like, Black women, we can save everything. Yes, you can do it. Just give it to Black women. They can fix it, baby. We are not your magical Negroes that show up to clean up messes that we did not fix. Just because we are capable does not mean that I hate and you see this in nonprofit a lot, and you see this in corporate, where your competence is rewarded with more work. It's never, oh, wow, Tracy, you did this amazing. Let me cut you the 6-figure bonus check. It's typically, Tracy, you did this amazing. Can you take this on too? Right? And that's how the world treats us. You did this fantastic. Can you fix this too? No, baby. I want this stuff to come with financial compensation. I want this to come with rewards and not more labor. And this whole leave it to Black women. We can do it. We can save the world. We got this. That is really that's the cousin to that sentence where, like, I hate this thing where we get so excited to be invited to the table that we damn near eat whatever is served. And we forget that this damn table is incomplete without us. So this whole, we can let us save the world narrative and we're excited about it. Baby, you're getting excited about labor. You're getting excited about rescuing people who will not compensate you with leadership, with excess wealth, will not compensate you in a way that, they would anyone else. We are not mules of the world. And I'll be damned if I'm going to take on that labor, or I'm going to allow anyone to celebrate me for being a damn mule. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, every time I hear it, it makes my stomach just sort of like do a little flip, right? I'm just like, ugh, enough. enough.
Yes.
Enough.
Sis-
Like, I don't want to be it's also like you're celebrating Black women doing what we've been doing because everyone else decided that they didn't have to do it, right? Like, it's never like, let's celebrate Black women for like going to the grocery store, right? It's like, let's celebrate Black women for saving democracy or like making sure we all have the right to go outside. It's like, okay, why is this falling to us? Like, why is this my responsibility? I've been voting my conscience, and it's only when it's close and it matters to other people. And like, it's like, oh, so we're the last resort because you all can't live up to your own ideas. And I think that for me is where I'm just like, okay, well, if you just voted blue or whatever, like then you wouldn't need me.
Right.
There's way more of y'all.
Honestly, Tracy, and it's also really manipulative, right? So you're the mom of two twins, right? I know you do this strategy with your kids because I used to do it with my daughter until it stopped working. When I want her to, let's say I'm sitting in a living room and I want her to go all the way to the kitchen and get me a bottle of water, but I don't feel like getting up. So I'll say to her, baby, I bet you are so fast. You can go get mommy's water in like 10 seconds. Mommy's going to count. And she's like, okay, I bet you can beat your record from last time. Okay, start counting. And I'm like, go. And then she takes off running. She gets the water. That's almost what they do to us. Like, oh, I bet you can save America from itself, even though we treat you like shit and we're still going to do this again in another 4 years. I bet you can do it. Let me count and let me see you go. It's really manipulative.
Right. And it's just also just like, if you just did it, like if you just voted the way that you want me to vote and got your little friends to do that, then we wouldn't have this problem. Because we're actually such a small part of the voting block.
Because they don't want to do the labor. They don't want to go out and talk to their friends. They don't want to go knocking door to door. They want to gas us up to run to the kitchen and get the water while they count. That's what they want.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Valentine's Day is upon us, and I've got love on the brain. Love for books, duh, of course. Hello. Did you forget what podcast you're listening to? I love bringing you all great reads, exclusive author interviews, and behind-the-scenes book gossip. But I can only do that with your support over on Patreon and Substack. Our Stacks Patreon community, also known as the Stacks Pack, is where you can go for book club meetups, a private, very active Discord, and a year-long mega reading challenge to help you achieve all your reading goals. Plus, you also get that monthly bonus episode. Now, over on the Substack, you can subscribe to my newsletter, Unstacked, where I keep the book conversations going. I also give you a healthy dose of sports and pop culture, definitely some hot takes happening over there. And again, that bonus episode. If you don't have a few dollars to spare, don't worry. There are free options on the Substack and the Patreon to get you a little extra Stacks magic. Making this podcast is a total team effort, and by supporting my Patreon and my Substack, you allow me to support my amazing team that makes the show possible every single week. So if you or your friends are looking to meet other book lovers and support this indie podcast, come hang out with me on Patreon, Substack, or both. I would love to have you. And since we're talking about love, you can gift subscriptions to the Patreon and the Substack for that special reader in your life. For the Stacks Pack, head to patreon.com/thestacks. And for the newsletter, head to tracythomas.substack.com. And also, there are links to both in the show notes. Okay, see you in the Stacks. Okay, we're back. We're transitioning to books now because we have to talk about the books that you love to read. But before we do a thing every week called Ask the Stacks, where somebody, or every month, and where somebody writes in and they ask a question for book recommendations, and then you and I are going to give it to them. So I'll read the question, and then you can come up with one or two or three or whatever you want.
Sure.
So this comes from Caitlin. I don't know if you listen to audiobooks, but that's what this question is about. So good luck. I'm looking for great nonfiction or possibly fiction to listen to while I work out. Something compulsive that makes me want to go out. Something compulsive that makes me want to go work out just so I can listen more. I recently loved Patrick Radden Keefe's Empire of Pain and Say Nothing, and Bad Blood and Furious Hours. Do you listen to audiobooks, Shanita?
I don't listen to audiobooks, but if I did, like for this, there's this book I'm looking for, and it's called The Body Liberation Project. Have you heard of it?
I think that I have.
Chrissy King, right? So she's talking about like Bali politics. From what I'm just started the book, right? But from right now, it looks like she's talking about like it's not this typical local, like let's lose weight.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it really is. She's talking about the intersection of like white supremacy, obesity, and beauty identity politics, and it's really brilliant. So honestly, if I was to listen to an audiobook, especially if I was looking for something for the gym, not because that would gas me to go harder, right? Because I would just like, it's so brilliant that your mind would just be so wrapped up in it. Next thing you know, you finish your 35 minutes on a treadmill. So it's actually,
oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, she's really smart.
Okay, I actually have that book. I got to go dig it out of one of my stacks and check it out now. Okay, Caitlin, here are my recommendations. I have listened to all of these on audiobook and they're all really good. I tried to give you a range. The first one, because you mentioned how much you like Patrick Radden Keefe, his essay collection, Rogues, fantastic. Highly recommend. They're essays and they're about an hour each. So it's perfect for the gym for like an hour workout or something. The next one is The Faraway Brothers, which is this not investigative journalism about these twin boys who I believe are from El Salvador, and they come to America, and it's their story of like going to school, high school in Oakland, which is where I'm from. So obviously I like the book just because of that, but it's really well researched. And the woman who wrote it, Lauren Markham, she makes an appearance in the book. I believe she's maybe a guidance counselor at this school. But it's a really interesting story about people who are coming to America without documentation and what that looks like, especially when they're children and they're coming alone without their parents. And then the last one is one of my favorite sort of books, a male counterpart to Ride or Die, I would say, is the book called Stakes is High by Michael Denzel Smith. I recommended the audiobook a million times. Oh my God, it's so good. Have you read this one?
No, but I read his first book, and I follow his work. He's so good. I got to get that one.
He's so good. You have to get it. It's so good. I've listened to it on audio twice now. I like really love it. It's super short, and it's sort of his reckoning with what happened in the 2016 election, which the further I get away from the election, the more impressive this book is, that I'm like, holy shit, it stands. It's not a 2016 book at all. It's really like a much bigger book. And it talks about like what it means to be American and be Black, because even though we don't like Black folks might not always agree with a lot of American stuff, like there is power and there is privilege in being American. And that means we also have to stand behind in some ways the election of Trump and like reckon with things that happened in our name, even if we don't agree with them, in the same way that we expect, white conservatives to reckon with Obama being elected when they don't agree with that. And like that there is some conversation kind of to be had about our responsibility to ourselves as Americans and to our Blackness as Black people. And it's really good and interesting. So those would be my 3 recommendations. And Caitlin, if you read them, let us know. And everyone else, email askthestacks@thestackspodcast.com to get your book recommendation read on the air. Okay, Shanita's books. Here we go. Tell me about 2 books you love and 1 book you hate.
Oh my gosh. Just 2 books. This is hard. Okay. Heavy by...
We're starting here. There's way more books we're going to talk about. Okay. Don't worry.
So, When Chicken Heads Come Home to Roost by Dr. Joan Morgan. Oh my gosh, girl. When I tell you that book split me open and held up a mirror and showed me some things inside of me that I did not like. Honey.
Yeah.
So that's a classic.
I almost suggested that as for us to do on the book club, but then I was like, I bet she already knows that book way too well and loves it way too much.
I know, but listen, you can always suggest that to me for us to do, because I love that's one that is just freaking classic. So that, and then Heavy by Kiese. Like his writing is so beautiful. I have to read his book at least twice, like once for the story and once to just fangirl out about the writing. Like that's my writer crush. We go together in my head. We're in a very committed relationship. He does in my head.
I love it. I love it. What about a book you hate?
I don't even know if it's fair to say that I hate a book that I haven't even read yet, but there's this book. I hate the premise of it. Can I say it? Is that okay?
You can say it. You haven't read it, so you don't actually know if it's bad. You just hate the idea of it. I don't know if it's bad. I hate the idea of April Ryan's book, right? Black Women Will Save the World.
the
Right.
I love that as an attempt, if to celebrate us and how capable we are. However, I hate everything about assigning us the responsibility of cleaning up something we didn't fuck up, right? I hate the idea of celebrating the fact that the world looks at us like a mule. Like, that is not something worthy of celebration. I don't want Black women to save the world. I want us to save ourselves. I want us to show up for ourselves. I want us to be, of course, pour out into our family and our community, but with the responsibility to be these rescuers for the world is a hard pass for me. I think, and again, that's just the premise. She could be going in a whole different direction. I just can't bring myself to like crack that open and read a word of it. I can't do it. And so I want somebody to tell me, I want somebody that read it and I'm wrong. I will be like, I'm so sorry. And I will buy multiple copies. But if I'm wrong.
Okay, people, if you've read it, let us know if it's any good. We have our doubts. What is the last great book that you've read?
The Movement Made Us by David Dennis Jr.
So good. That book is so good. Didn't it make you just like want to know his dad so badly? Like, I just wanted to know David Dennis Sr.
That's actually one of my friends, and he probably thinks I'm joking when I'm like, oh, I want to come to your book event so I can fangirl over your dad. Like, not to sound like a groupie, but I absolutely just want to just know him more. I want to talk to him more. All of it. It was just amazing.
What are some books that you're looking forward to reading? And it can be either books that are coming out soon, or it can be books that are on your shelves that you just haven't gotten to yet.
I got like a gazillion books on my shelf that I haven't gotten to yet. So I want to do some rereads. Like, I want to pull out some more Audre Lorde's books, right? I want to sit with some more Bell Hooks books. I think it was all about love. Like, I really want to sit with that. I remember like when I was first introduced to Bell, she's brilliant. God bless her. May she rest in peace. But I remember that wasn't my entry into Black feminism, because at the time it felt too heavy for me. It was like, can I get like a 101 version of this? Like, is there a freshman level? So I want to actually like really reread it from a different perspective. Like, I'm gonna live some life. I'm a grown up. I'm a woman. I'm a mom, and all these other things. So I want to spend more time with Bell Hooks. I want to revisit more Audre Lorde, and yes, I want to do some revisits and finish up the current book that I'm reading.
You said that wasn't your intro to this feminist thinking and stuff. What was your intro?
It was Dr. Joan Morgan. Like that, when Chicken Heads came out, like she spoke to me in a way that I got. Like, it was just like, it was brilliant, right? Like, for example, a chapter that I can still, this book came out in the freaking 90s, and I still remember, like, the first time
I think it was like 99.
I remember the first time I read Chicken Head Envy, right? So she was sharing pieces of herself. She was talking about being incredibly jealous of a woman that she felt like was a chicken head because, she got in a man, or I think the guy she was with maybe cheated on her with her. And and oh my gosh, when I say that held up a mirror, because I remember there was a stage where if I just, there was women who I felt at that stage in my life, I'm better than her. How is it that she can get, her man to do A, B, C, and D? And oh my gosh, is really feeling like I'm better than this quote unquote chicken head. So I'm really envious of what this Black woman is receiving, because I feel like I'm more deserving than she is. And that is something that I didn't even have language for. That's something that I didn't even that I didn't even realize that was in myself. She checked the hell out of me, right? So that is it was brilliant. Yeah. It was just like, oh my God, girl, it's me in my room by myself, embarrassed reading that book.
I love that. I love when books do that, where you're just like, whoa, I need a mirror. Right? Like, what am I doing here? How do you decide what you're going to read next? Like, do you use the New York Times? Do you use friend suggestions? Is there websites or bookstores or people that you rely on to help you? Or do you just sort of have a stack that you just keep building from randomly?
I am such a nerd. Like all of my friends are, well, not all of them, but like my close friends are writers. So I'm always like
Mm.
fangirling like over their stuff. Like I have friends, people that I rock with for real, like they got actual books out. So I'm reading my friends' work and then I'm following like my social media accounts. I'm following things like, the stats. So I'm like, oh, Tracy got, you posted this book. This sounds dope. Okay. So I don't think I can't even remember the last time I've read a review from like the New York Times or something like that, or any mainstream media outlet that gave me a recommendation. I was like, okay, bet. They literally always come from me following like independent media outlets like yourself or friend suggestions, and y'all posting all of these books. And I'm like, oh, this is dope. This is okay. And that serves me well because I am always finding out about, like really dope books.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That makes me so happy. Uh, what's a book that you like to recommend to people?
Um, Chicken Heads, but I've also got a new book to recommend to people. So I'm reading, I know you know what it is, Black Women Writers at Work.
Oh, yes. Okay. You're liking it?
Girl, yeah, featuring Maya Angelou, Gwendolyn Brooks, Nikki Giovanni. Like I'm always recommending that. And also, I always recommend and I try to do this myself, read other genres, right? It really helps you to hone your own craft. And for me, I try to read more. I'm reading more poetry because it's so when it's good, girl, it's good. And it's just so succinct and so brilliant. And it helps you to develop better language. Right now, I'm reading this poetry book called Black Girl Called Home.
Oh my God, it's so good. Jasmine Mans. Oh,
yes,
so good.
I got to like page 5 and I had to whip out my pen. I'm already taking notes and like writing essays.
It's a perfect companion piece for your book, actually. And it hadn't
really
occurred to me until you
is.
just said that, but it is a really good companion.
You know what? You know how I found out about that book? This is so crazy. So I was actually on I got the James Baldwin Fellowship where they awarded to like 12 Black Americans who write, quote, in the spirit of Baldwin. So they fly you to France, you stay for a month, and you're supposed to be working on your work, and they even have somebody cooking for you and stuff so that you can really focus. So dope. I was excited. And then COVID hit. So I wasn't able to do it, right? So we had to push it back a couple of years. So by the time I was able to go, which was in September, my book was already done. And then I didn't even have the capacity to stay for a full month because it's September and I got a kid. So I was like, listen, I've been waiting. Let me just go for 2 weeks. Anyway, so I was there and I ended up being a book reading. Like I just did like an international book reading. They just set up different books for me, readings for me. I got some writing done, but it was fantastic. So one day I was, and I took a flight down. I was in Paris, and then I took a flight down to the south of France, and I went to like this perfume shop, and I saw, a group of Black women, and you know how we are. Whenever we are in spaces, predominantly white spaces, and we see each other from across the room, it don't take nothing but a head nod, and then that's it. We're like magnets. So then now, because I was by myself, and it was with a crew, and she was with a bunch of girls, so we're just like talking, and then she was like, "So what are you doing here?" So I told her I was here, about the fellowship and the book reading. She's like, "Oh, my friend just wrote this book." She's like, "I can't believe I don't know the name." And I was like, "You're a bad friend." So we're laughing and joking. And then like right before we're about to leave, she's like, "Black Girl Called Home. That's what it is." So that's how I found out about that book. And I was like, oh this is dope.
I love that. I love that. Well, it's so, so good. I devoured that book. It's highly, highly recommend.
I'm going to have to stalk her a little bit on social media. I need to connect with her because it's dope.
Yeah. Are there any things about your reading life that you wish were different?
I wish I had more time to do it. I find that, I don't know if this is the case for just all writers, but I read so much slower because I'm always like, oh my gosh, what a beautiful sentence structure. Oh my gosh. So I'm looking at the story. I'm thinking about what they're saying. I'm thinking about their wordplay. So it just makes me read slower. I don't know how to turn that part of my brain out. It's kind of like if someone was a director and they're watching movies, I don't think they watch it like you and I watch it, right? So that's how I read books now, and it makes the pace a lot slower.
And are there any, you said you've been trying to read more widely, but are there any genres that you're just like not into?
Girl, for some reason, I'm not into romance novels. Only my girl, she's her name is Shamika Irby. She writes romance novels, and she is the only one that I would actually romance novels that I could read. I don't know if this counts as romance novels, but I'm a whisper, so my mama don't hear me. But when I was little, I used to read Zane, honey.
Yeah.
Is that romance novels? Okay.
I think so. I think
Okay.
so. I think people have said it. I was never a romance person, and one of my goals this year is to try to just incorporate a little bit more romance into my reading life. And I sort of like it. I'm not as into the romance, but I am into the quick pace. I like that they just like
Mm.
go and I know where they're going and it feels like a rom-com, but
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely a genre that I'm trying to sort of learn more about because I know that it's really important and valuable and I know that it's so meaningful to so many women and that's why it's been shit on so much. So I'm like, let me go check out
Mm.
what's going on over here. But it's definitely as a nonfiction lover who likes investigative journalism and like murder, it's definitely a departure
Mm-hmm.
for my reading life.
Yeah.
um What's your ideal reading setup? If you have all the time in the world to read, where are you? What snacks and beverages do you have? Is it warm? Is it cold? Are you on the beach? Are you in a blankie? Are you on an airplane? Are you in your bed? Set the scene.
So I have this thing when I'm reading and when I'm writing, which is very weird. Like when I'm writing, if I need to get in my zone, I don't care what season it is. I gotta throw. It's like it gotta be hoodie season. I throw on my hoodie. Like I actually need to
Okay.
put my hood on because I need to. I guess it makes me feel like I'm in my cave or in my zone. And when I'm
Yes.
reading, it's similar. Like I love on my sofa, right, with my hoodie on, with my hot tea and my blanket just curled up on my couch. Like I'm not really like an in the bed reader. It's definitely like a sofa reader with a pen somewhere close to me. Because you know how we do, girl. We got to mark it up in the margins and stuff.
What kind of tea are you drinking and how do you take your tea?
Oh, what a wonderful question. I like chamomile tea at night with just
Okay.
some honey. And then I also like just green tea in the morning. I'm trying to be more of a tea person and less of a coffee person. So give me a gold star. I'm trying, Tracy.
Well, I'm not a coffee person at all. I only drink tea. I think coffee is nasty. And I'm very much a taste person. So like if something doesn't taste good, I don't want to have it. So like I don't like a lot of alcohol because I don't like the taste of it. So like if I can find a good cocktail, I'm very in. But if I can taste any alcohol, I'm like, I hate this. And that's how I feel about coffee. So I don't, it's not a moral judgment on coffee drinkers. It's just a personal taste thing. But I love a black tea with sugar and milk, like a creamy
Mm.
sweet. That's my go-to.
Wait, you're not a honey in your tea type of girl?
No, I use sugar.
Oh,
The
I'm
honey, I
judging
don't
you.
know. Sometimes the honey makes the tea taste different. I will put honey in chamomile because I think it enhances the flavor. But like honey in
Hmm.
an Earl Grey or an English breakfast, I think is weird. Like you get that weird like honey taste. It doesn't work for me.
Oh, I could see that. I could totally see that.
Yeah, I take my tea like a Brit, like a British person. That's what they tell me. Like I went to a tea shop once and I was, it was like this huge tea shop. It had floor to ceiling, like tea tins. I'm talking to the guy and I'm telling him what I'm like. And he's like, oh, so you like sort of like like more like colonizer blends. And I was like, excuse me? I was like, did you just call me a fucking colonizer? I'll kill you. I was like, so offended by the way he said it.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
like,
I'm gonna need that person to use different language. Like I don't
yeah,
want you
I
to get
was like,
colonized or
that
anything.
I think that's like maybe how they talk about it in tea, but I was literally like, well, you know what I'm going to colonize? Walking the fuck out of this tea shop because you just called me fucking Queen Elizabeth the First and I hate it here.
I know.
I like turned to my friends and I was like, he just called me a colonizer.
That's crazy. I don't even know what I would have said. I would have been so shocked.
I was so shocked, but I also was like, you know what? I do. Like, I don't like green tea. I like the Earl. I don't know what it is, but that is what I like. So I couldn't even like be mad because he was right. But I also was like, I don't know, say it different. Like,
Different.
don't make me
Say
feel bad.
say it different.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any favorite bookstores?
Um, Mahogany Bookstore in DC is I really and Harriet's and Uncle
Mm-hmm.
Bobby's in Philly. I
Mm-hmm.
love like small independent like black owned bookstores. Like I
Yeah.
mean Barnes and Nobles and stuff is fine, but give me like a really quaint, cute like old school bookstores with like the smell of coffee in the background. That's me.
Yeah.
Uncle Bobby's is
Do you
pretty
ever
dope.
I've still never been to Uncle Bobby's, but Mark came on the show and he talked a lot about it on his episode, and it was really nice to hear him talk about his Uncle Bobby and the show and the bookstore itself. So it's on my
Hmm.
list when I get out there. I want to go there and Harriet's. Okay, what's the last book that made you laugh?
This is such a good question. Oh, I think ironically it's Candice Marie Bembo, right? She has this book. I love the title. It's like for um for black girls who something for black girls who considered tithing to the beauty supply store when the church wasn't enough. So it's it's just wonderful. It's like, she's a theologian, but she's a feminist theologian, and it's really brilliant. And I didn't expect to laugh in it. She's funny.
I love that. What's the last book that made you cry?
The Movement Made Us.
What's the last book that made you angry?
It might have been, oh gosh, I remember. There's probably others, but this one stands out because it still makes me angry, and I read it years ago. Darnell Moore's No Ashes in the Fire. Oh, there's so much about that that just made me want to just fight people.
That book is so beautiful too. Gosh.
It really is.
It really is. His love of his mom and her love of him, just like still, I think about it all the time. What's the last book where you felt like you learned a lot?
Oh, you know what? Justin Tinsley's book, it's a book about It Was All a Dream. He's such it's not that I learned more about Biggie's life, but Justin is such a brilliant investigative journalist. Like, remember when I said earlier about I read books differently now? So I'm reading the book and I'm like, this is wonderful how in depth he went with this interview and this subject. Like, he really helped me to think deeper and step my game up just as a journalist.
Yeah. I love that book. I learned a lot. I'm from California, so Biggie was never really a part of my world because I'm a little younger than you, and so I was only like 10 when he was killed, but I had an older brother, and so I knew Tupac was much bigger in my consciousness, and so going back and reading that book, I was like, whoa, I didn't know any of this.
Oh, wow.
And I love that book. Yeah, just, time and place when you're a kid, especially before the internet was really banging, it determines so much about what you understood. And I remember when I went to college and I was talking about E40 and people were like, who? And I'm like, what are you saying? What do you mean, who? It's E40. And I was like, right, not everybody's from Oakland. Not everybody's going to have a feeling about a Thiz face,
I am so embarrassed about my lack of knowledge about West Coast rappers. It took me a while. Like, you know what? I think I'm a little bit of an East Coast supremacist when it comes to hip hop. So I feel you.
I think we all are like that. People from the South are always talking about Memphis rappers. And I'm just like, I don't know. It's not for me.
Yeah.
It's just, we all have it's like everything. It's like what you were raised on. Sure, I can appreciate it, but there's something about Too Short that's just going to do something different to me than it's going to do for you. And I get that. And I respect that.
I know. And meanwhile, I'm over here like, what you mean Raekwon ain't still on your playlist? Huh?
That's exactly right. What's a book that you're proud to have read?
Oh, I think, is it Cotton Candy on a Rainy Day? It was this collection of poems by Nikki Giovanni.
Yeah. What's a book that you're embarrassed about never having read?
Don't tell my business on the street, Tracy, if I tell you this, okay?
Okay.
So The Great Gatsby, you put that on your list, right? We were talking about, I was like, girl, I ain't never read that book in my life.
I read it in school. I really want to do it on the show. I got to find someone who will do it with me. But there's this whole theory that Jay Gatsby, who's the lead, the rich guy, is passing for white.
Really?
He's a black guy passing for white in the 1920s. There was a school of thought about this, and I really want to read the book on the show with that lens. So I just keep throwing it out to everyone. Does anyone want to do this? And everyone's like, no, ma'am. Someone will do it with me. I got to find the right person, but I just keep asking. I'm like, who knows? Someone will do it. What about a book you would assign to high school students?
Oh, heavy. Heavy. I would assign that to high school students.
Yeah. Okay. I think I just have one more, which is, I guess two more. What's a book that's influenced your professional career?
Joan Morgan, When Chicken Heads Came Home to Roost. She really showed me that there's a lane here.
And then here's my last one for you. If you could require the current president of the United States to read one book, what would it be?
Ride or Die. Ride or Die.
Yeah.
A feminist manifesto for the well-being of Black women. Honestly.
I love this. I love this energy.
And that's not just me being self-serving, right? Like I really do believe and know, like, what the Combahee River Collective stated, that like when you center the needs of some of the most marginalized in the community, in the world, like you center everyone. So we all grow. Like center our needs, the needs of Black women, there's gonna be a domino effect because our needs are not just our needs. So I wouldn't just be being self-serving. Like I really want people to center us.
But even if you were just being self-serving, you wrote a whole ass book and Joe Biden needs to read it.
Yes,
so
tell him, Tracy.
Both for the reasons, but also for the self-serving reasons, because those reasons are important too. And while you're at it, Joe Biden, listen to this podcast.
Thank you.
Talk about it. Okay, well, we're done for today, but you're going to be back on March 29th. We're discussing Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. I'm so excited because you're such a good feminist. So I can't wait to hear about Bad Feminist. I haven't read the book, but you have. So I'm really excited to get to revisit it with you and for me to get to dive in for the first time.
I'm excited too. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm looking forward to coming back.
Thank you for coming. And everyone else, we will see you in the stacks. All right, y'all. That does it for us today. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you to Shanita for being our guest. Remember, Shanita will be back on March 29th to discuss Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. If you love the show and want inside access to it, head to patreon.com/The Stacks to join the Stacks Pack. And make sure that you're subscribed to The Stacks wherever you're listening to this podcast. And if you listen through Apple Podcasts or Spotify, be sure to leave us a rating and a review. For more from The Stacks, follow us on social media at The Stacks Pod on Instagram and at The Stacks Pod _ on Twitter, and check out our website, thestackspodcast.com. This episode of The Stacks was edited by Christian Duenas with production assistance from Lauren Tyree. Our graphic designer is Robin McCrite, and our theme music is from Tigirigis. The Stacks is created and produced by me, Tracy Thomas.